It's time! It's my favourite time of year. It's time to set up, oh, it's the wrong way. It's time to set up my 2025 bullet journal. I've been so excited to film this video for, I want to say, almost a month. This is my 2025 everything bullet journal, as it says in my first page. My everything bullet journal. I have tried for many years now to have a separate reading journal and a separate bullet journal, or have one that combines everything that I love about life into one, so I only have to carry around one notebook at a time. And I've never really found something that works truly for me. Either the notebooks I get are too short in page count, so I can't fit a year's worth of content that includes reading and my life all in one, or when I try and do them separate, I always fall off the bandwagon with one. 2025 is my year that I'm going to attempt to do an everything bullet journal once again. That includes all the movies I've watched, all the books I've read, using it as a kind of your typical reading journal as well as your typical bullet journal. I am not sure whether this journal will be big enough for me, but it's the biggest page count I can find with good quality pages. This is the official bullet journal notebook that has 200, so it's all counted out for you, 205 pages. So hopefully that'll be enough to fit all of 2025 into this journal. It has 3 page markers, which will be perfect for keeping track of my monthly calendar, as well as my habit tracker, as well as my reading progress for the month. It also has printed in a dot spacing section, which I absolutely love. This is going to come in so handy. It also comes in with a printed out key, which I won't be using because I've been bullet journaling now pretty much consistently since 2016. So I've got my method down, I've got my key down, it's absolutely fine. And ignoring the first few pages, because I was so excited, I started already, but it does technically have laid out pages for you, like index, which obviously you can see I haven't used as an index, as well as future log, which I haven't used as a future log, etc, etc. And it's all numbered, and what I love most, let's go to a random page that I haven't yet planned out. I don't know if you can see this, but ever so slightly, it splits the page into 3, horizontally and vertically, just so you can find and rule out sections of the page a lot easier. I am in love. These are not cheap notebooks. They are more expensive than your kind of like typical notebook. I just absolutely love bullet journaling. I thought it's finally time to invest in an actual official bullet journal, and I'm so excited to dive in. So as you can see, I have already started setting up my 2025 bullet journal because I couldn't wait. So I'm going to talk you through the few pages that I have done, and then we're going to go into a voiceover, and I'm just going to have fun watching Heartstopper Season 3 as background noise, because you can't see that off screen, but I am going to be watching that whilst I fill out the rest of my 2025 bullet journal, doing all my yearly spreads. I am so excited to set up for January, but I think I might wait a little bit to do that, however much I can actually wait. So I have decided this year for my yearly spreads to do like a cloud, moon, daydreamy sort of theme, keeping it simple, keeping it easy, and just something that in my own personal life, I am manifesting quite hard into 2025. I don't want to reveal kind of like my main thing for the year, but this is very much a subtle kind of nod towards that. If you know me in my personal life, you might be able to guess the subtle nod of the theme that I'm going for. But I'm really happy with how it's turned out. It's really simple, and I'm trying to keep all of the spreads really simple. So that's my title page. And then this is my future log. And one of my goals for 2025 is to actually send out birthday cards and send out gifts to my friends and loved ones more frequently, because I'm really bad. I'll send them a text every single year. That's absolutely fine. I can do that. But I want to start being more intentional with gift giving and sending cards, etc, etc. So yes, I have a future log that marks out when each month starts on which day, yada, 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 your typical. But down the left-hand side, where there's a little bit of space left, I've written down every single one of the important people in my life's birthdays and a tick list. So hopefully I can keep on track of everyone's birthdays this year and actually send cards and send presents, etc, etc. So that is my future log all done and dusted, and once again following the same theme because it's part of the yearly collections. And then this is a brand new spread for me that I haven't done yet, and I'm really excited to fill it out at the beginning and at the end of the year. This is a kind of reflection on who you are sort of spread. You can pick as many categories as you want. I have chosen the categories of my current focus, my favourite food, my favourite song, favourite book, last text sent, because I just think that would be quite funny, recent purchase, special memory, a word or phrase that I've kind of like been used to saying quite a lot, like my big achievement, my top concern, and what I'm excited for. And you fill this in on the left hand side on January 1st, 2025, and you fill it in on December 31st, 2025. So you have kind of like your year as a whole, like who you were at the beginning of the year against who you are at the end of the year when you come to fill it out. And I think it might just be fun to reflect upon some like sort of like unique categories, and you can switch out the categories, you can use the same ones, but I just thought these might be quite fun to kind of like encapsulate who I was at the beginning of the year to who I am at the end of the year. And then this is a blank spread that I haven't done yet, because this is where I write my letter to myself. I've done it now for the last couple of years, and I really, really enjoy looking back on who I was. It's very similar to this spread, which is why they're next to each other. You write a letter to yourself about what you want to achieve in the next year, what you've accomplished in the previous year, and you just write it on January 1st of the new year, and then you open it at the end of the year on December 31st, and you see kind of like who you were and who you aspire to be, and it's just quite a nice reflection piece. So those two are together. I haven't done this one yet, because I'm just going to get an envelope, write my letter, and shove the letter in the envelope and stick the envelope down. So there's nothing really to do on this spread. And then we're coming into where I stopped planning and where I'm about to pick up off again. And I always love documenting the films and the TV shows I've seen each year, because me and Mark love going to the cinema. So this is our cinema spread, and they will be obviously film strips. So every single time we go to the cinema, I will doodle a little piece for each film that we've seen. And this is for all the TV shows we've watched. Every time I watch a TV show of Mark or by myself, i.e. Heartstopper, I'll write it in the TV screens, and hopefully we'll get a nice accumulation of all the films and TVs I've watched in the year. And now, because that's all I've done, everything else is just penciled out, I'm going to hand myself over to future Rachel's voiceover, and let's get filling all of these fun spreads out in pen and get set up for 2025. I'm going to play Heartstopper and have a fun old time. As I'm recording this voiceover, it's Christmas Eve to all that celebrate. The Christmas Eve just reminds me of Friends, and I absolutely love that. Merry Christmas Eve! If you know what I'm on about, you know what I'm on about. But this is just going to be a rambly sort of voiceover. I'm going to catch you up, I'm going to talk about the spreads I'm creating, but mainly just going to have a little bit of a ramble. I haven't rambled to you guys in ages. I feel like I haven't even created a video in a really long time, and that is because obviously weekly I've been uploading my Walt Disney World vlog series videos, which have now come to an end. Me and Mark filmed our entire Walt Disney World trip that we took back in September, and overall we had 14 separate Disney World vlogs, and they're all now uploaded on my channel, and they have been a labour of love. They have taken ages. Weekly I've edited them. I never batch made them. Every single week I was cutting down to the deadline. I was editing them on Sunday morning, and they were going up Sunday night. They were truly a labour of love, because we documented so much of our trip, and I'm so grateful we documented so much, because it was just an absolutely incredible trip. So if you haven't checked them out and you want to, then I'll link to the playlist down below. But this is basically me creating all of my TVs for my TV show spread in 2025, where I'm just going to document all the TV shows I watch. Hopefully it covers all of them, but I might have to recreate the spread later on in my journal if I run out of space, which I think I might. I tend to watch more TV shows than I always predict, but that's absolutely fine. We're then on to your kind of like typical bookshelf that I create every single year. I put a journal, and let's just document all of the books that I read in a year. I think this year is going to be my first year that I colour code the spines according to maybe the ratings. Most likely the ratings. I haven't officially decided yet. I haven't created a colour coding system yet. I'm still undecided on what exactly I want to document/track in this spread, but for the first time I do actually want to document something in relation to the actual books I read, rather than it just being like an aesthetic bookshelf. So most likely the ratings. The next page is documenting all of my reading that I do across the year in kind of like a pixel per pages per pixel sort of situation. And this is the first time I've ever done a double page spread for it. I always usually do it one square per day, whereas this time I've done like 4 squares per day. And I'm really excited for it to be a full double page spread, and for it to take up the amount of space it's taking up, so I think it's going to look incredible. I was so consistent with filling this out in last year's reading journal before I scrapped my reading journal, because I just didn't like the journal that I was creating it in. So I'm really excited to revisit that spread and get it back on track. And attempt to, should we say. And then this one that I'm creating is my book log spread, which is where I'm going to document every single book I read in a more kind of like generic system. The number that it is, whether it's book number 1 or book number 75, the title, the author, the date I finished it, and my star rating. Really, really simple, just something to keep more of an analog situation and track of my books I'm reading rather than like an aesthetic. Just wanted to see if this would work for me. As I said at the beginning of the video, this pen, the black pen that I'm using, takes ages to dry, so I outlined all of it and then I went back a few pages and started colouring in. But even now you can see that the pen was still smudging even though it's been about 20 minutes. So I don't think this pen and the pages of this bullet journal are really going hand in hand. I'm trying to make it work, and I made it work to the best of my ability. I've gone in and started to colour in using the same colours as my first cover page spread to keep it consistent, and either side on the numbers they were smudging too, and it really upset me, but hey, I got over it. I think overall I'm absolutely in love with my 2025 bullet journal and I can't wait to go in and populate it. I'm sorry if you can see my head in some of these shots. This is the first time I've properly filmed an actual overhead video like this, so if my head pops up, that is why. It's fine. I'm watching Heartstopper, I'm getting distracted, I'm forgetting that I'm filming. And this spread now is the books I'm excited for 2025, so this is where all of my anticipated releases for the new year are going to be documented, and I actually have a whole video already on those books. If you want to check out that, then I'll leave it linked down below if you want to see what my anticipated releases are. And on the other side was my physical TBR trolley, which I'll talk about later on in this video, so don't worry about that. And this is basically a double page spread to keep all of my stats in one place. I'm going to be doing these stats monthly, but I think it'll be really, really nice to have all of them together so I can just kind of see them all in one page and see them all in one spread and be like, okay, so January I read 7 books, but in December I read 12, and just kind of like see it all in one space. And then just like colouring in, the pen takes ages to dry, so I went in and rubbed out the pencil marks on a few of the previous pages as well. So it's all just a bit higgledy-piggledy. There's my head again. Hi, I am leaning over. I like to get really close and up and personal with my bullet journal when I'm creating it and creating the spreads, so that's why you see my head every so often. But yeah, flipping through, going back, getting rid of the rubbings, getting rid of the pages, and that is it. Let me talk you through all the spreads I created for my bullet journal. It took me some time, but I'm finished. Let's do a quick flip through of my 2025 bullet journal. This isn't filled out. I haven't filled out any of my anticipated releases, what my priority books are. This is just kind of like what it looks like prior to me filling it out. I'm sure I'm going to fill it out in one of my resets for the new year, but that's my cover page as we spoke about, my future log, my kind of like reflections section, if you want to call it that, my movies, my TV shows. This is where my bookshelves is. Basically, every time I finish a book, I'll draw the spine, so on and so forth. I've done this for so many years now. This is kind of like how I track the amount of books I read across the entire year without any real category or stats. I literally just draw a box, write in the title of the book on like the spine of the book and call it quits. It's just a nice little overview to have. This is my how many pages I read per day for the entire year. This is the first time I've done a double page spread for it, and I'm actually really, really excited to kind of just see this entire page completely split out. In my previous reading journal, I had so many sections for like page breakdowns. I had like 1 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75. It was a bit too much, so I've kind of condensed it to less than 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 150, 151 to 200, and then 200 plus, just to keep it a bit more concise. I haven't picked the colours out yet. This is very much just like my blank canvas, kind of like just filled in pen. And then this is where I'm going to write down every single book I've finished this year with the number, the title, the author, when I finished it, so the date, and then my star rating. I've given myself kind of 3/4 of the page, a full page, and another full page. Hopefully that's enough pages. If not, I'll just do some more pages later on in the bullet journal. This is where I'm going to put my priority TBR for the year. I had it written down in my last reading journal and I really did keep on top of it. So I'm hoping that's because I had it written down. So I've done another page spread for that. I haven't decided how I'm going to fill it in, whether it's going to be a list or whether I'm going to print the covers off yet. So this is very basic at the time being, but it will get filled in hopefully closer to the end of the year. Then this is where I'm going to write all the books I'm excited for. I'm hoping to actually draw them out. So that's kind of why it only has a title so far, because I've kind of left the rest in pen. I'm going to just slowly but surely fill in this page. This is my physical TBR trolley. So on December 31st, once I've finished all the books I finished for the year, I'm going to go in and write down all the books that are currently on my physical TBR and fill out this page. This page is just for my yearly stats. So we have the months down the side, January, February, all the way up to December, the total and the average. And then across horizontally, we have the amount of books I read in each month, the pages that I read each month, how many were physical, audio and ebook, which ones I owned and didn't own, how many of them were 5 stars, I think is what I'm going to use for this column here that says ratings, how many I hauled in a month, how many I unhauled in a month, how many were standalones and how many were part of series. And just over the end of the year, I'll have a total number of pages, books, physical, audio, ebook, etc., and then I can average it out and we'll just get like a full-on numbers page, which I'm really excited to fill out as well. And then the last double page spread here, we have my YouTube and Instagram stats across the year. So I have my start figure, my end figure, and then a month-to-month breakdown of where I started at the beginning of each month and where I ended each month as well. And then here on the right-hand side is where my goals are going to be. I did kind of split the page up between personal and reading goals. Whether I stick to that sort of structure, I'm not too sure yet, but that's kind of like how I'm envisioning it. And that is my 2025 main yearly collections set up for 2025. I don't love the pink, but hey, I'm rolling with it. It'll be fine once I start properly filling it in. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you get a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below to see future content from me. I don't know, weekly reading vlogs, monthly TBRs, monthly wrap-ups, any other Bush content that you can think of, I have it on this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.